Hello, my name is Christina C. Jones, and I am a romance author. I specialize in specifically Black romance. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. So, today's video is brought to you by my friend who gave me the suggestion. I was like, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to film today. And she was like, have you done a backlist video recently? And I was like, no, I've not done a backlist video recently. So here we are. Today we are going to be talking about my first entry into the Connecticut King series because, well, that's what I'm working on writing right now. And so what better option to what better title to talk about and potentially introduce some of you guys to, because Love on the Highlight Reel is actually about 5 years old now. Love on the Highlight Reel is I wouldn't call it an older project, but it's definitely not it's not new in my catalog. And it was definitely a departure from the norm for me. It was not only my first and only time that I have done like a full blown collaboration like this with another author, but because of who that author is, my good friend Love Belvin, who typically writes like much longer projects than I do, it was like, oh man, okay, so so I'm doing this. I've got to write at least 100,000 word project, and like that is not at all my norm. And what was not at all my norm, it's become more my norm now than it was back then. But it was like, okay, I can do it. I could do it because we didn't want the books to be lopsided. You know what I mean? We didn't want her to write her typical 100,000 plus word project, and then me coming in with my typical 70 or 80. That don't match. That wouldn't work. And I ended up like I really appreciated the challenge of that because it forced me to slow down. It forced me to dig deeper. And it helped me uncover things that I don't know that I would have uncovered with these characters in a shorter word count. So I remember that this was not the storyline that I ended up with was not quite where the book ended up. And I'm gonna just fair warning that there are definitely gonna be some spoilers here, but I'm not gonna go too deep that I think that it would ruin the book or anything like that. But there will definitely be some spoilers. But initially, it was gonna be simple, a simpler version of enemies to lovers. I write enemies to lovers a lot. The Connecticut Kings book that I'm working on right now is enemies to lovers. But that is what Jordan and Cole were gonna be, a very simple, very straightforward version of that. But this was back when I used to I call it running, but it was like a slow jog. But when I would run in the mornings, I would have my music in my ears, and Rihanna's song "Needed Me" kind of shuffled onto my playlist. And it shuffled onto my playlist. Like what I would do is I would be running and I would have the music in my ears, but I'd be thinking about my story. I'd be thinking through my story. And that song shuffled on one time. And right after that song shuffled on, Love Drought shuffled on. And just the combination of those two songs, especially Love Drought, you're my lifeline, are you trying to kill me? And I'm trying to think of like the key lines that really made it stand out for me, and just the different story elements that I was able to pick up from it. Like the Rihanna song "Needed Me," it's not a loving it's not a loving kind of song, but it was very much didn't I tell you that I was a savage? Fuck your white horse in a carriage. Like that was Cole's kind of attitude back in college. And she essentially kind of started out using Jordan, and then things shifted and she actually developed these feelings for him. And I, I said I wasn't gonna give too many spoilers, and so I'm gonna keep it together, and I'm not. I'm okay. Breathe. But yeah, so what it ended up being, just listening to those songs and those lyrics, those songs whose lyrics, and like it's not like it's a one-to-one comparison, you know. It's not like it's like this direct line that you can see, like, from, okay, here's how, here are these words, and here is how these words are going to inform my words. It's not like that. It's like it triggers something in my brain, and then I head down this tangent of, what if this, what if this, what if that, what if this over here, okay, not that, but what if this. And so just building out those different connections in my brain led me to, this is a second chance love story. It's not just straight up enemies to lovers. This is a second chance love story. And there's a reason why Cole outwardly puts on this front, puts on this energy like she hates Jordan. And it's because if she didn't hate Jordan, she would love Jordan. And she does not want to love no Jordan Johnson. Now, Jordan, my I love me some Jordan Johnson. Okay, I love me some Jordan Johnson with all his whiny, immature, all that stuff that he kind of started out with, and how we watched Jordan develop like into on some grown man type stuff. I love it. And Jordan and Cole both actually feature heavily in my new CK project, because this is not too much of a spoiler, but Jordan is actually retired from the NFL at this point due to an injury, which is a very common, that's very common in the NFL. But this is a spoiler. This is a spoiler. If you're caught up on the Connecticut King series, you know that in Past Interference, Nate Richardson, who is Cole's brother, Cole's twin, he mentions that he and Cole, and it's not even just a mention. He and Cole are talking about transitioning out of the King's organization. Well, Past Interference was 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons ago. Past Interference was 3 seasons ago. And so now, by the time of, of this round of Connecticut Kings that we're writing, they've transitioned. RSM Richardson Sports Management is a thing now. And Jordan actually works in Richardson Sports Management. And yeah, so they factor really, really heavily into this. And it's just amazing the transformation that Jordan has made from his book, from Love on the Highlight Reel, to where he is now, as a husband, as a father. He's been a stay-at-home dad with their babies. And it's all just so wholesome. And I love it. I really, really love it. So y'all know how I do. Y'all know I love some cameos, okay? There are plenty of cameos in Love on the Highlight Reel. There is only, sorry, I'm looking at my list. There is only one, I think, just super notable character introduction in terms of my catalog, in terms of effect on my catalog. We meet Cinnamon Bradley. Cinnamon Bradley, Jordan's favorite stripper at Arch and Point. Arch and Point is a very high-end strip club that is frequented by the Connecticut Kings. This was where, if you've seen Arch and Point in other projects in my catalog, if you've read the Clark Brothers series, Samara used to dance at Arch and Point. At Samara, they went back to Arch and Point for Samara to dance. Don't think about it too hard. Don't think about the locations too hard. Just enjoy it. But anyway, so we meet Cinnamon, Sin, who is Jordan's favorite stripper with a heart of gold. Jordan, has really funded her being able to leave, and he's basically put her through school, etc., etc., etc. Never like an outright sexual relationship there, which Sin's mother, in her series, which is the Sweet Heat series, Hints of Spice is the first book in the Sweet Heat series, and that's Sin's story. And her mom is like, that fine ass professional football player, and you let that slip between your fingers. But Jordan has been in love with Cole since college, and so it was never gonna happen. But anyway, so we meet Sin. We're introduced to Cinnamon. We're introduced to Arch and Points, as as the club. And then in terms of other drop-ins, Chloe McKenna, uh, Jessamine Johnson, Jordan's little sister. I'm not sure Jessamine. I'm not sure that I mentioned Jessamine in any other books in the catalog. But Nubia Perry pops through. Nate Richardson pops through. Nate is the hero in book 3, Past Interference. Um, Mel, who is Eli's wife. Eli Richardson, who is the owner of the Connecticut Kings. Um, let's see who else. Tarek. Tarek and Cora, who Tarek is most of my athletes. He's the financial advisor that they use, and Tarek is actually the hero from the first book in the Inevitable series, Inevitable Conclusions. And then of course, Steph is there, Nubia is there, Dawn is there. Dawn. So if you've read Inevitable Conclusions and you remember Tarek is advising a football player, and Dawn comes in, and Tarek is like telling this football player, absolutely not. You don't look at her. That's my daughter. That football player is Jordan. And he and Dawn actually become friends, and there's like this whole thing in highlight reel because there's some pictures of them and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just grinning looking through this and thinking about it. And the last one, Marcus Ingram. Okay, listen. So Marcus actually appears in a couple of he appears in determining possession. He appears in determining possession too. But Marcus Ingram, I introduced him here. He's an NBA player that I introduced here. And if you have read Me and Somebody's Son, remember Haven was dating somebody back at VSU that was like she was dating August's friend. That friend was Marcus Ingram. Marcus Ingram is married to, or he's now married to Lord. Let me see if I can find this girl's name real quick, because now I can't pull it. Lena. Lena McBride. He is married to Lena McBride, who is Ramsey's ex, who was like Ramsey's gold digging ex. Baby, I can make some connections, okay? If I can't do anything else in these books, there's gonna be some connections, okay? Okay. Anyway, I think I've rambled about this book enough. Love on the Highlight Reel, sports romance. Definitely a good introduction to my catalog. If you're starting the series, I would recommend that you start with book 1, Love in the Red Zone, which is Love Belvin's project following Trent Bailey and Trent and Jade Bailey. And then you'll come around to Love on the Highlight Reel. And then End Zone Love, which is Trent and Jade again. And then Determining Possession. And then do I have, is book 4 mine? Or book 5 mine? Oh no, Determining Possession is a book. No, I'm sorry. It's it's Love in the Red Zone, then Love on the Highlight Reel, then Determining Possession, then End Zone Love, then Love's an Eligible Receiver, then Lord, what's the name of my book? Past Interference. And so I would definitely recommend that you read them in order. I don't know when. I don't have even like a roundabout date to give you for when the next Connecticut Kings book is coming out, but I can say that Love and I both are actively working on our books, and so it is for both of us. It will be our next release. I just don't have I don't have a date. I'm sorry, but we're working on it. We're coming, and Love on the Highlight Reel was like. That was my first sports romance, my first time really stepping into that world. it was so much research. And even now, even for the current book that I'm working on, still so much research. A lot of stuff that you guys don't even ever see. And for a lot of you probably don't even care about, but we really do want to make it, we really do want to make it realistic, and we want to, we want to do our due diligence, because that's, we both take our craft really, really seriously, and we don't want to just be throwing stuff together. So it's a lot of research, a lot of time, a lot of voice memos back and forth, like, hey, did you see this? Or, hey, what if your character did this and then my character can do that? And a whole lot of all of that. But I feel like it really turned out beautifully. Like, it really turned into a really phenomenal project. And so, especially if you're a fan of sports romance, and even if you're not, it's like there's like sports, but like not too much sports. If you're not really into sports, you would still enjoy it. But all right, this is getting too long. I'm gonna let this go. Read Love on the Highlight Reel. Don't just read Love on the Highlight Reel. Read the whole Connecticut King series, and I'll holler. Bye.